What's going on, guys? I thought I'd do something a little bit different and rank every single movie and TV show in the MCU on a tier list here. So let's get straight into this. I've considered doing a ranking, like ranking everything from worst to best. But I mean, there are so many projects that I think it's a little too difficult to do that. So I thought, why not just put every movie and TV show as of 2025 on a tier list here, rank them all from worst to best. I hate that there's so many pop up ads. I really wish some of those would go away. But let's just get straight into this. This is just my opinion. You're probably gonna disagree, but I'm not gonna rank something just because of importance or anything. I'm just gonna rank it on how much I enjoy the movie, which is where we're gonna start off with Iron Man. Most people put this in top tier just because of how important it is. I'm gonna put it in the good tier. Again, sorry, sorry. Actually, I'll put it in great. I'll be a little nice. I understand this is the start of the MCU, and I think it is a really solid comic book movie, but I'm not going to put it in the best of the best. Like, I'm not going to put it in top 10 just because it started the MCU. I think it's great, and I know it's important. Great movie, great character arc for Iron Man, where it took a like C-list comic book character, and made him one of the most popular Marvel characters. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic, and this was his kind of redemption. Um, and just overall, yeah, I think it's a great movie. I don't think it's the best. I think that the final fight is kind of rushed and everything, but two-thirds of a great film, so I'll put it in the great category. Incredible Hulk, one of the most underrated. I'm gonna go a little faster because there's so much stuff, but this is one of the most underrated movies in the MCU. Nobody talks about it. I've rewatched this movie multiple times. I'm trying to figure out why do so many people not like it, and I feel like since it's from a different movie studio, it kind of has a different vibe. There's no humor in it. It doesn't have all the stuff that you expect from a uh, MCU movie. But that's because it is from a different studio. They were still trying to figure out their tone, and finally, most of these plot points that were kind of left hanging were finally answered in Brave New World. So yeah, I think it's a good movie. I miss Edward Norton as the Hulk, although I did like Mark Ruffalo. I did like this interpretation, and I think the final fight is really fun. So overall, I really dig this movie, and I hate that it gets hated on by so many people. And then we have Iron Man 2. I'm going to put this in meh, the meh category. It's been very much known there's a lot of behind the scenes issues where this movie was rushed into production to help set up the Avengers. Again, at this point, the MCU is still kind of figuring out their form. The villains here aren't great. Not a lot of fight scenes in here. I do like War Machine finally getting his time to shine. The introduction of Black Widow, she's really good. But overall, the writing isn't as strong and it feels very rushed. It feels clunky. There's not a lot of fight scenes because, again, this was a very much a rushed production. And then we have Thor. I'm going to put this in the good category. I enjoyed this movie. I dig the big Asgardian like style, and then the transition into the. There's a lot of funny moments in this movie. I forget how like funny this movie is. But there's actually a lot of like I dig the comedy in this one. Um, and I like that the story arc that Thor goes on here. Um, it's not full on serious Thor like Thor Dark World, but you're still getting a bit of comedy moments. So a good mix of both different tones. So I really dig it. Yeah. Then we have Captain America: The First Avenger. I think this is a great movie, and I don't get why so many people don't love this movie. I think it's a fantastic character study of Steve Rogers. I think that the World War II vibe and the look of the movie it's different from it almost every other MCU movie. Where I know that MCU can kind of feel formulaic at times. This one has its own style, its own look. It looks different. It feels like a World War II movie. Steve Trevor's a great character. It has great action. It's a great like character study, and overall, just a really really good movie that I really dig, and I wish more people would talk about this one. And then we have Avengers. I mean, this is gonna go in the best. This is some of the best MCU. Putting the MCU did something that no studio had ever done before, and take all these different IPs and put them together. Great movie, great. The final fight here is fantastic. Really fun moments from Joss Whedon on the writing, and the chemistry of all these characters just comes together to make a great movie. Where it's one of the best. Um, and Loki is a really fun villain. And then we have Iron Man 3. I think this movie. Hold on, we're gonna put Captain America ahead of Iron Man. I'm gonna put Iron Man 3 above Iron Man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Again, I just prefer Iron Man 3. I rewatched them both a lot, and I just think Iron Man 3 is a better movie. Whether we're looking at a character study of Tony Stark after the events of Avengers and how he almost died and how that affects him. Um, I think the action scenes is fun where Tony Stark is having to learn how to survive and defeat these villains without his Iron Man suit. Really fun action. I think the humor here is really, really good. Robert Downey Jr., of course, is great. Great action. I really dig this one a lot, and I think that I know a lot of people don't like the Mandarin twist, and I don't know. I think with the release of like Shang-Chi and everything, this is one where I've kind of it's grown on me even more, and I've always just really, really liked this movie. I think it's great. Then we have Thor: The Dark World. Um, I'm gonna put this in. It's uh, do I put it in bad? It's not a. It's meh. Like yeah, I think it's the definition of like generic. I've seen this movie multiple times, but I couldn't tell you like anything about it. Like it doesn't do anything like wrong. It's just so boring and forgetful. Like there's nothing to talk about. The villain's boring. The action's nothing crazy. It's fine. It doesn't do anything wrong. It's just boring. And then we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Yeah, one of the best. Just think like it had this tone where it takes itself seriously. It feels like a political thriller where you don't know which side can you trust. Fantastic action. Obviously, the introduction of reintroduction of Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. Fantastic, fantastic movie. Um, One of the more serious MCU movies, which we don't get a lot of. And overall, just really, really great. I mean, this isn't an unpopular opinion. Everybody loves this movie. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, another one that I'm just going to put in the best category. James Gunn is great at doing these different, like, these team movies, whether that be Guardians of the Galaxy, the Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, where this was a big risk for Marvel at the time, where they took all these unknown characters, and James Gunn made it work with his magic, and great movie, and again, made these characters, like, really popular that nobody knew at the time. Then we have Avengers Age of Ultron. This is one where I'm going to put it in the best category. I've never understood why this is considered like a weaker MCU movie. I don't get it. I don't I don't get it. I'm not seeing I have rewatched it multiple times. I'm not seeing what like I'm not I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it has some of the best action from any MCU movie. Um the kind of showing, the Avengers slowly starting to kind of fall apart. I think Ultron's a great villain. I like how the Avengers are kind of taken away from the element where they're stuck at like Hawkeye's house and stuff like that. And I don't know, I really, really dig this movie. And it has the introduction of, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. And I don't get why this is considered a weaker, the weakest Avengers movie. I really, really dig it. I'm actually going to put Civil War and Guardians of the Galaxy ahead here and put, or I don't know. I don't know. These can all just kind of go. They're all kind of the same level. Ant Man. I'm gonna put this in the good category. It's good. It's solid. It's not trying to do anything crazy. It's not revolutionary. It's just a fun heist movie. It kind of just takes the plot of Iron Man in a way, but makes it Ant Man. It's fun. Paul Rudd is fun. It's that's all it's really trying to be. It's not trying to be, it's not an Avengers level threat. It's just a fun heist movie. And then we have Civil War. I'm gonna put this in the. I need to. I don't know. Civil War is, yeah. We're gonna put that right there. Just such a great movie where you're seeing the Avengers falling apart, where the actual problem that that the team is being split up against is an actual like reasonable. The plot makes sense. Like you can see where both sides are coming from. So many great character moments. You get the introduction of Spider-Man in here. The airport scene is just something that like I used to do when I was like 5 with like my toys, stuff like that. Just so great. I'm still struggling to figure out where to place all of these four movies right here. They're all just kind of together. I don't really. Doctor Strange, I'm gonna put in the good category. One there, I kind of like forget about. Like I like it's kind of forgetful to me, but I do think it has like its own style with like the editing and the use of magic that I wish we got to see more of. But it is still a little formulaic. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Put this up here with the first one. I love, I think Kurt Russell's a great villain. Um, Taserface is a lot of fun. Fun action. I think Yondu is just such a great standout. Again, both of these are just kind of together in that category. Spider Man Homecoming. Another one I'm going to put in the best category. I know I'm using the word the best a lot, but I'm sorry, man. Spider Man Homecoming, I know a lot of people kind of like think this movie isn't great or anything, and I'm really confused because I saw this movie in theaters, was blown away by like the act like they actually did the high school Spider-Man story justice. Vulture is a great villain. I think Michael Keaton does a great job, and you really feel like this is a high schooler. Um, Very funny moments. Tom Holland was just born for this role. Then we have Thor Ragnarok. I'm gonna put this in the great tier. Thor kind of needed to be, you know, needed a remodel essentially. Where this one's bright, colorful, fun action, funny movie. Before Taika Waititi kind of went crazy with the humor, um, really showing how much. Where I think it could have had a couple more serious moments because if you stop and think, I know this movie is just like a comedy, but you realize how much stuff that Thor goes through, where he loses his dad, his whole planet, his eye, he loses his hammer, and he loses a lot of stuff in this movie. It could have had a couple more serious moments, but still great nonetheless. Nope, stuff's falling over. All right. Um. Okay, stuff is falling over. All right. Then we have Black Panther. I'm gonna put this in the great category as well. Where this is one I used to put in the good category, but on rewatch I realized just how great of a villain Michael B. Jordan was in this movie, and they really sold Ryan Coogler really just sold Black Panther and the world of Wakanda. I think the only thing really holding this movie back from being the best or like one of the best is this has some of the like weaker CGI, so like some of the fight scenes, it's kind of hard for me to buy into because of how bad the CGI is. But other than that, um, one of the top three villains, great screenplay, overall really good movie. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Then we have Infinity War. No explanation needed. This is one of the best. Um, kind of where you have all these movies building up to this big event, and I just remember seeing this movie in theaters and seeing the Avengers lose. And just I never expected it to get us to get to the point where you have all of these movies like being like all of these characters, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, Spider-Man, all of them being in one movie was just insane at the time. But actually seeing that happen was just mind blowing. Like, and seeing this movie in theaters, everybody at school was talking about this movie. Like, this is like truly an event movie. Then you have Ant Man and the Wasp. I'm gonna put in the mad category. I think it's kind of like a weaker version of Ant Man. Still fun heist stuff. I'm gonna put it in the top of mad. It's not trying to be anything crazy or anything, so I'll put it in good. It's fine. It's fun. There's some fun action. Captain Marvel, a movie I don't hate like a lot of people do. I know a lot of people hate this movie. I'm gonna put it in the good category. I think that like it's fun to see Samuel L. Jackson. There's some fun action, but the whole character arc of like learning your powers, like getting your memories back, isn't that interesting to me. So I'll put it in the good category. Then we have why is Avengers Endgame here? This is gonna be one of the best. I mean, this was again an event movie where you have the Avengers having to come back, and this was my birthday party where I took a bunch of my friends and we all saw this movie. Um, so that was my birthday party, was seeing this movie in theaters, and I mean, just insane, like such an epic event film, and closing out all of these movies into one film and doing it justice. And that final hour where everybody is fighting together, just I miss this MCU. If we just stopped here, we would have been great. But there's still a lot more projects to go because they didn't stop for some reason. Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is a fun movie. We're gonna put it in the. I don't know. I'll put it in great because I do have a lot of fun with it. Mysterio's a fun villain. I like the humor, really funny humor, fun action. I think that the whole idea of like Tony Stark giving it glasses to a teenager who had been dead for 5 years, you know, does I feel like with how smart Tony is, I think that probably could have found a better way to do that plot. But still a fun movie nonetheless. WandaVision. I know people crap on the TV shows, but I forget how good this TV show was. Where you're on this ride of like the first couple episodes, you have no idea what's going on, and like seeing this mystery come to fruition of like what's really going on here, really just fun. Like the posters and everything, like what is this show about? And slowly finding out what this is when you start to see Scarlet Witch, or Wanda, really turning into the Scarlet Witch that we know and love. Really heartbreaking moments in here with mourning the loss of Vision and everything. And I don't love the idea of how you know they'll never understand all that you sacrificed, even though she had like a whole town hostage and everything. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I think the final episode kind of sold it at the end, like it kind of fell with the bag there, but still great character study, great thriller where mystery where you have like no idea what's going on. Really good show. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm gonna put in the good category. The main thing holding this one back for me is the villain is so lame, and they really try to make me like feel bad for her, but she's like a terrorist. I like the introduction of John Walker. I think he's a really cool character. And turning into U.S. agent and everything. I still dug the show, and it sets up Captain America: Brave New World. So we have Loki season one. I'm gonna put this in the great category. Really fun show. Setting up it did age the best, I guess, because of all the Kang stuff. I guess that didn't age the best, but such a great show. Bringing the character back after what happened to him in Infinity War. Um, and I forget that the main timeline Loki is technically still dead because this is the Avengers movie one, and like I keep forgetting about that. Black Widow, another movie that people like hate on, and I don't get it. I think it's good. Um, I think it's a good movie. I dig it. I don't love it or anything. I love the intro with the "Smells Like Teen Spirit" cover playing, and you seeing these girls getting kidnapped. I just think the movie should have come out after Civil War. Because this character's been dead for years, and I'm confused why they're just now doing this movie. They should have done it before. Like they should have done it after Civil War, but before Infinity War. I'm really confused about that timeline wise. What if season one? Back when I was still sold on the TV shows, I dug it. I thought it was fun. I like that you have I feel like they were actually telling some cool stories here. I dug the Captain Carter thing. I dug the Marvel Zombies episode. I really like the one where you have like the murder mystery of all the Avengers getting killed. That one I had, the edge. I was on the edge of my seat for that one. The Doctor Strange episode, man, that one just so good. And then having this group having to come together, and those final two episodes where Ultron's just like killing all these different versions of these Marvel universes, that was insane. So I really dug season one. Now the other ones we'll get to later. Then we have Shang-Chi. I don't think anybody actually expected this movie to be that good. It was like Shang-Chi, who cares about this? I just saw it in the theaters because my friends were going, but it was really good. One of the best villains that we've gotten, where you actually get the Mandarin. I really dig the character of Shang-Chi. Fun action. I think it has still some of the MCU-isms that kind of hurt the movie, but overall, I really dug it, and I was so shocked by how good it was. Eternals. This is gonna get a lot of people kind of crazy here, but I'm gonna put this in great. Here's guys. I know this is probably the most like polarizing a movie, where you have some people who hate it, some people who love it. I really really like this movie. I've liked it since I first saw it. Where they did something that in where the MCU I feel like was very formulaic, and that you can kind of see a pattern of how these movies work. This movie did something different. It tells a story where you as a viewer are morally confused about following this group of like gods who have been here since the beginning of time, and wondering, oh, should we have saved Earth and everything, and seeing the group having to come back together. I know, I still think it probably should have been a TV show, so you get more time with each character. But for what we got, I love it, and it's a shame that this movie didn't do great, and we're probably never gonna get a sequel. I am one of the few people who really, really dug this movie, and I liked the characters, I liked the action, I appreciate that they took a risk and did something that we hadn't seen before, which we need more of. Hawkeye, a really fun TV show. As a Daredevil fan, I really dug it. The character of Hawkeye, finally getting his own, you know, chance to shine. Um, Kate Bishop's a fun character. You get more Florence Pugh. Fun action scenes. It's based on probably the best Hawkeye comic. A really fun show. Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'm gonna put this in the good category. I don't care if okay. I'll put it in great. Like I'll put it right here. I know people love this and how it's a tribute to Spider-Man, but I just can't buy into the plot of this movie where the whole like reason this movie happens is because Spider-Man like wouldn't shut up, and that's why now look, the payoff is obviously great. I love the second half of this movie where all the villains, Aunt May with great power comes great responsibility, and seeing Toby, Andrew, and Tom together is obviously so insane. But the setup is bad. And if Spider-Man 4 is a multiverse movie, which it's looking like it's going to be, and they bring back Toby and Andrew again, I don't think y'all realize this is going to hurt this movie even more, because the special thing about this movie is going to be ruined because we see it again. It's going to probably go down even more because of the fact that the thing that makes this movie special and how it's a tribute to Spider-Man and seeing all the Spider-Man together is going to be ruined. But I still think I don't know. It's the plot, like the setup of the movie hurts it, but the payoff is obviously great. And then this is when we get to the where Phase 4 up to Spider-Man: No Way Home. I was like, I'm still digging it. Like I still like the projects that we're getting: WandaVision, Loki, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Hawkeye, What If. I'm still digging these projects, right? And then we get Moon Knight, and I feel like Onward is when we really just start to. It's like, why did they keep going? Why couldn't the MCU stop with Endgame? You could have done like 3 more movies, maybe closing off some stuff. Like I would have loved to still see Far From Home, No Way Home, and then Guardians Volume 3 and stuff. But we didn't need to keep going. But whatever. We have Moon Knight. This show should have been so much better. It's meh. Like it started off good. I dug the mystery, and I feel like the show just again turned into another one of these MCU projects. It kind of just lost the thing that made it special. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm as a huge horror Sam Raimi fan. I dig that aspect, but it still feels a little too MCU. I think it could have been a lot better if Sam Raimi had the project the full time, because he didn't join it until later. If they had just gone full horror with it and Scarlet Witch and all that, then I think it could have been great. But it's just good. Miss Marvel, I don't hate or anything. I enjoyed the first part of it, and then it again falls into the pattern of all the other MCU shows where it just kind of, I don't know, just kind of loses it for me. So I'll put it in. Meh. The Moon Knight's better, but Thor: Love and Thunder. Why is this trash? This was the like nail in the coffin for me, where I was like, okay, Doctor Strange was great, Moon Knight wasn't good, Miss Marvel wasn't good, and then this was the nail in the coffin. Where I was like, okay, we need to just stop. What are we doing here? Taika Waititi fumbled the bag, where it has to be a joke every 2 seconds, and it's such a shame. If we got a serious Thor movie taking the Jason Aaron story of Gore the God Butcher and Natalie Portman, like Jane becoming Thor, Lady Thor. If we had a serious movie where Jane is dying of cancer, she turns into Lady Thor, sacrifices herself, and Gore the God Butcher, who is a serious villain. If they took Jason Aaron's comic story, which is great, and actually adapted it and took itself seriously, Could have been a great Thor movie, but Taika Waititi thought it'd be funny if we have screaming goats and we see his butt and we do like orgy jokes and fat Hercules and every 2 seconds and it just looks ugly. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Terrible trash. It's trash. Trash. I'm Groot. I don't really know where to put this. I'm gonna put it in the meh. It's just shorts. Like it's just a bunch of shorts. It's fine. It's harmless. I don't really put it right. It doesn't hurt. She-Hulk, I'm gonna put this in the bad category where literally the first episode made me mad where you have Hulk who's one of the most painful like characters in all of Marvel, like the things he's gone through. He's lost like his best friend, gone through so much in the MCU, and in the first episode she's like, "Oh, well, I'm a woman. You don't understand what it's like. I've been through more pain than you." I'm not saying women don't go through any painful stuff. I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you're saying this to the Hulk, that's what I'm like. That's what I'm like. Okay, you realize like this dude has had like suicidal thoughts for like the past 15 years and has lost so many friends and families and has sacrificed so much. And you're like, oh yeah, well, I've been catcalled a lot, so I've been through more pain than you. Like that was like, it was cool to see Daredevil, but the jokes in here didn't land for me. And I think it got a little too meta in the final episode where we're literally like talking to Kevin Feige and everything. That's when I was like, okay, I dug the meta stuff. But the She-Hulk comics are really good too. There's a lot of great She-Hulk comics. I think they could have done a lot better job here, but whatever. Werewolf by Night, I did actually dig this. I would have liked this to be like a full-on movie. I would have actually dug that. Again, horror fan. I liked the risk that they took. They did something different, and I dug it. I think it's short, but it's cool. Wakanda Forever. This is difficult to rank because it feels like I'm watching a funeral service. This movie, I mean, was given the unfortunate hand of their lead actor passing away, like during production, so they had to completely rewrite the movie. And I think it does a great job honoring him. Namor's a good villain, good action, great performances, but this is probably one where I don't need to rewatch this one for like 5 more years because of the simple fact that like it's essentially watching a funeral service. It's not the most fun movie to rewatch because of that. Like it's not fun. It's honoring a passing actor. So it's just not fun to rewatch, but and the movie's really dark. Like the lighting is like it's really dark. Like I can't see a lot of it. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It's fun. It's a holiday special. There's not much else to it. It's fun. I like them kidnapping Kevin Bacon. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is gonna be bad. This is again. I know they kind of got screwed over with the Kang thing. Like they got screwed over really bad with that. But the whole movie looks ugly. It's again just another one of these CGI schlock fest. MODOK is abysmal. They butchered MODOK, and it's awful. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, finally, like another great movie. I'm gonna put this right here. So we're gonna rearrange this a little bit. I mean, just knocked it out of the park. Knocked it out of the freaking park. With honoring, like doing a James Gunn. I love James Gunn so much, and I can't wait for this DC universe because he just knocked it out of the park. Great conclusion where it's obviously has funny moments when it takes itself seriously. It's not afraid to go in those dark areas, and such a great character study of Rocky Raccoon, and such a fantastic movie. And that final scene where they're all dancing one last time, seeing the Guardians. Like this is the MCU that I missed. Like seeing this, I saw this movie and it gets me like a little emotional where it's like I know these are just movies, but these movies mean so much to so many people, and the fact that they just didn't stop making them. What they should have done was they should have done Endgame, Far From Home, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and No Way Home. To close everything off, say goodbye to the Guardians, say goodbye to Spider-Man, and let that be the end of the universe. End it. But they want to keep going with Secret Wars and bringing back Robert Downey Jr. They could have just stopped. And this is one of the movies where it's like, this is the MCU that I miss. It's sad, man. Secret Invasion is trash. hate the show and everything it stands for. Um, it's awful, boring, pisses even the intro just pisses me off. Where the intro to the show is AI art. I don't have a problem with AI if you're just doing AI art for fun and you're not hurting anybody. I don't care. Do you? AI art can be cool, but when you're replacing an artist who can do a better job with AI art, because what saved you a couple bucks? The intro to the show is AI. They could have gotten an artist to do a way better job to give the eerie, like, uneasy vibe that the intro is supposed to get, that it's supposed to give off, and a real artist could have done a 10 times better job. um the show is just not good. I'm Groot. I don't care. Season 2, whatever, fine. This doing this just makes me so mad. It's like, we could just, makes me angry. Loki season 2, I dig it. It's fun. It does a good job kind of closing off the Kang stuff, where we luckily, this kind of closes off the Kang stuff, so like you don't have to worry about, I think I enjoyed season 1 a little more, but still it's fun. Marvels wasn't great. It wasn't really funny. It feels rushed. I did like seeing some X-Men, or one of them, at the end. What If season 2? I dug the first season because I think it like actually had some cool concepts. This one, it's like they're the idea of like what if is so great. There's so many great comic books. There are so many great what if ideas, and the ones that they chose to do were just so questionable to me. I'm like, why are these the stories we're telling? We have Echo, where they first announced this show, and I was like, I'm not really interested. But then the trailer actually sold me. I loved what they were doing with Kingpin. We were going to see Daredevil. Daredevil is a great show, and I was like, okay, I'm digging what we're doing here. It's TVMA. Let's do it. And it was so mediocre and forgetful and boring. Deadpool Wolverine. I really oversold this movie. I think the hype, the recency biasness made me rank it number 4 on that X-Men movie tier list. Or whenever I did a ranking of all the X-Men movies, I put this at number 4. And I very much was using recency bias. It's good. But I'm realizing that, like, I rewatched it and I'm like, it's fun. It's not that great of a movie. I think my recency bias kind of, it's good. Agatha all along. I actually enjoyed this show a little more than I expected to. I'm still don't get why these are the projects we're doing. Why are we getting Agatha a TV show? But for what it was fun. I'm so sick and tired of this, man. What If season 3 was bad. Why are we not getting a what if the other half was snapped? But instead, we're getting what if, Howard the Duck had a baby, like, with that one girl from the Thor movies. Captain America: Brave New World. I actually dug this movie. I think it was good. I like the kind of it does what, like, stuff like Civil War Winter Soldier did, where it's a serious movie. It kind of has political thriller, fun action. It feels connected to the MCU. Kind of felt like a nice return to form. But yeah, that's it. I'm just doing this tier list makes me just so sad. Like, the MCU fell off so hard. Why didn't they just stop after Endgame? Endgame was the perfect conclusion. But that's the tier list. Let me know how you would rank these movies in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your favorite, least favorites, all that stuff. And as always, stay geeky.